ago. Thank you for joining me. I I have a lot more science to plan out here on. Oh my goodness, a lot more science to plan out here. Okay, so here, let's take a closer look. So here we are making military and blue science. Okay, you go ahead, robots. Let's actually worry about you later. So for now, what I need is what takes up the most space, because I need to build that somewhere else. Engines, it looks like. Okay. So let's see. That's enough space. That might be enough space. Okay. How many engines are we actually making there? We have 21 machines of engines. I was making engines elsewhere, wasn't I? Oh no, I'm making a small build. I could extrapolate this out. Let's see how much this is making. That produces exactly the amount you need for 10 engines. Okay. So that's 1 to 10 there. I could get away with 2 and using speed modules, couldn't I? Yes, or I can cast the pipes. How many pipes do you need? You need 3.15 pipes. Okay. Casted pipes would make 6 a second. That's a lot of pipes. That is a lot of pipes. What else am I using pipes for? Alt click. Okay, so I'll need pipes eventually for some of these buildings. The rocket silos. Okay. Okay, so, oh, we do have with that calculated in there. Okay. We have some calculating pipes over here in this nonsense right now as well. Okay. Okay, so if I were to calculate from here all the way down to here, it does produce a surplus of pipes in total. Slight deficit of heavy oil and gas. That might be okay. Because what's the main thing that's using heavy oil and gas? It would be the sulfur in this case. Yeah, because I'm making red circuits elsewhere. Okay, so I'm using plastic from somewhere else. Okay. Sulfur only needs petroleum gas up to a certain amount. 21, that's 1.625. Okay. Okay, so let's... You know what mod I actually need? Probably something to allow me to do a calculator within this. So we are using 0.787 over a total of 1.652. So we have a surplus, but we are only utilizing 47, 48%. And the deficit is only -1. Okay, yeah, this will be fine. Okay. Oh, what's this? Everything's okay. While I'm looking at this, because I turned off auto deconstruct because I don't think it was doing what I wanted it to. I could set up a miner there at some point. Okay, those seem to be all working as intended. That's nice and backed up. That's... what it might... whatever, that's fine. Where's the other mines? There it is, copper. Looks like it's fine. That looks like it's fine. And uranium, good old uranium. Uranium, maybe it was working, because it was working over here, it looks like. I'm pretty sure I would have done something different there. But oh well. You are not connected. That should at least be going up to there at least. You are connected oddly. Yep. We'll have that happen. And this is fully backed up at the moment because I have a ton of tasty green rocks. Is that full? That is full. That is full. And this is practically full. Okay. Although it's not grabbing anymore. Why does this not grab? If connection is greater than 2, you enable or disable. Oh, greater than 75. What are you connected to? Oh, these two. Why 75? Automated is 38. Automated is 38. Is that what I decided? Oh, whatever. I have plenty of fuel cells now. Yes, plenty of fuel cells. Okay. That's what matters. And this is working just right. Okay. Power is fine over here. Okay. Everything seems to still be working fine. Okay. Oh, I also brought someone over here. The Bacchus. You are in orbit. Okay. And you are not dying horribly. Great. You're going to become my space platform over here. So, we are going to... okay, so we have one over there now. So we can cut you out. Then we're going to grab all the engine stuff. Hold on. Let's do this from map. Put you down here. Put you over there. Put you right there. Okay, so we're going to make these engines first. I think all of this military stuff we're going to put on the upper side. We need this is so we're going to need this ultimately and all of this ultimately. But I have so much stuff coming up this way. Okay, so We're going to send engines up this way, so we don't need molten iron because that's going to go down. None of this stuff needs... Yeah, none of this will need molten iron. Okay. So we can cut that. Okay, so steel and iron plates. I believe you still need steel and iron plates because of... Yes. Okay, steel, iron plates, copper. Gears. Does this need gears? Nope, I don't think any of this stuff will end up needing gears. Hold on. So we can cut gears over here. Okay. That's 8. Okay, so let's make the engine portion because we're also going to want to bring the engines up through here at some point. So let's go make these engines. Okay. First and foremost, let's grab this, cut this down, put it down a little further for some breathing room. Okay, how many engines does this make? So this makes 1.575. Okay, so that's an exact consumption. Okay. Which one of these is supposed to be... So that's sulfur and magma bolt. Which one? 1 second. Someone is texting up a storm for some reason. And it's just spam. Go away. Okay. Okay, so over here, my intention is... Okay, so the bottom one will be the molten iron. Okay, so let's see. Should I just put it over here? No, let's put it over... here. Because we're ultimately going to bring my engines back up this way. That is where we're putting the main engine unit. Now, nope, can't use production, so you already have some productivity, so. Okay. Okay, so we're going to need steel, and so we'll bring those up over on this side. So, where is it? There and there. You know what? It doesn't matter which side is which. I can figure that out later. So, gears. And steel. Okay, so we can jump from... How far can we jump this? can jump up to here. Okay. You jump all, yeah, okay. So steel and gears are right next to each other, so to make this easier, steel can come out first, gears can do whatever it needs to do. Okay. We have 21, so let's group these into groups of 7. Okay. So ultimately, if I speed this up or slow this down, I could do either. How's power looking? Whenever something just kicks on or off, this is... Yeah, it's probably fine. Nothing to worry about right now. Okay, so if I kick these up or down, so hold on. So that's a 30% boost. That's almost 1 a second. Hold on. Okay, let's see how much that produces. .047. We still have a surplus of... We'll still have a surplus of pipes, and we'll have a slight surplus of engines, which I can use for the automo, because I will want this for electric engines later, which are also needed in this. Ooh, hold on a second. I need a lot of engines. Hold on. Engines are required somewhere in here. Electric engines. Which are needed for... There they are. Let's... Hold on. Grab you. Map view for this. Put you down there. Put you down there. Okay. Oh, this is going to be important, actually. So we need electric engines for you. Okay. So that produces 0.7. Okay. 5 more machines. So, like that. Okay, so that's an exact match, and that needs 0.45 engines. Okay. So we are... Let's actually... Hold on. We need the blue science portion, so we need all of this. You're producing 0.47. Perfect. Excellent. I can send some this way. That's great. So I don't want to put any more modules in there to mess it up. So let's grab you. Throw you over there. What else do you need? Lube. We can work that out later. Batteries. We'll have to work that out later. Not part of this arrangement. Steel, however, I could send over here. No, I don't want too many crossovers. Okay. So first of all, you're going to produce a lot of pipes. So we do want some pipes to go into okay, so how do I want to do this? So we definitely want pipes to go into that, and we will definitely need a bulk inserter for that. Come on, Alt. We'll need them for construction for rocket silos eventually. Need 100 at a time. Engines just needs one at a time. I'm not going to use that here or that here. So how much does the stuff that I'm going to have on an auto mall going to use at a time? 100, 5, 10, 20, 3, 10. And they stack up to 100. Okay. We'll go with 1,000 pipes. We're just gonna do. Yep, that's going the right way. And we'll just do that. Now that will grab 5 items every. Rotational math. I hate rotational math. It's spinning at a speed of 864 degrees a second. So it's making 2.4 roughly rotations a second, and that's grabbing the cursor on the right item, 5 items. $11.8. Okay, that should be enough then. Yep, that should be enough pipes. Oh yeah, that's enough pipes. Okay, great. And then I guess we'll collapse. Doesn't really matter, but I do want pipes on the inside because that's required more often. Okay. Now, the spacing is going to matter here, so we'll get this figured out in a moment. So let's put it on the steel. Jeff, you go out here. Have you do that, and just have you do that. Have you do that for now. Just so I remember, they should now have pipes on it as well at this point. Okay. Now let's figure out the spacing. We have plenty of vertical space here. So let's start with one section because we can repeat it later. Okay. Okay, so that could be an out. That's an output easy enough. I'm gonna stick with this. Okay, and then we would want well, we need at least 2 of these. Same with the upper portion as well. Okay, now here's the thing though. I should probably lower this. So I have a little bit more space. Let's lower it to about here. So if I do that, then I do this. This goes that way. Okay. And then we can just copy this portion. Put it right there. Okay. Alright, so this is going to be pretty slow, so I can just stick with this. Ah. Ah. Or, actually, let's make a pentagon. Oops. Right there. Oh, I'm not in map view. So we go like this, and yay, a little... No, that's not a pentagon. That's trapezoid. Okay. Where is this missing? Oh, it's just missing down there. Why aren't you building any? Is there a reason? You're missing blue. You're working but very slow and missing red. And red is just... There it is, red. Do I just have the... No, they're just... The bots are just being slow. Okay. Everything's just being slow. Nothing to worry about. So... You there, you there, you there. Yeah, let's go center. Go on the outer edges here. Inner edges here, so you aren't needed. Oh yeah, and over here I will want to send engines over. So, right here. Okay, so right down here. Let's go. Let's go there, there, and there. Cut off that one. And unfortunately, it's just going to be a little lopsided here on the bottom. Then we can put in some lights. We'll put one light here, 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 and here. Okay. Give me all those. Excellent. Let's copy all of these here to here. One. And the last one will change slightly. So we're going to put this one here, but down here on the bottom we don't need you to go further. Yes, and then over here we don't need this portion because you are just going to go here and here. Okay, so now I need to you can connect right there. Right there. Where are you connecting? Oh, you're connecting over here on this side. Okay. In that case, I want you to connect. Can't connect to that one. Why? Is it too far? It's probably too far, isn't it? Put you there. Slightly too far, okay. One there. One there. And one light there. Okay. Yep. Yep. Oh, and then I also want a spot to grip. Engines out. Right there is a good spot. And then how many engines do I want? Okay, so we're occasionally used in pumps. One at a time. Am I gonna make this here or elsewhere? What is the rocket capacity is 1. Probably not. Rocket capacity is 20 now. The only thing I might make here is pumps. Really? And whatever additional stuff I need electric engines for. But I can pull those off from over here. Yeah, so we only need a stack. Okay. Now let's hook up steel. Okay, so let's... We know it's going to connect down there, so we know steel is going to go here. Gears are going to go here. So I think steel is going to be pretty easy. Just got to do this and turn down. Okay. And then for gears, I need to do... I need at least this much space. Okay, now we can partially preload this. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Okay. Now what I need to do is get the foundries going. Okay, so what is going on over here? You are disabled by there not being more than 1,000 bricks, or is it just you turn on temporarily? Okay, we'll worry about that later, because that's only going to matter if it fully backs up, because it goes all the way back to here. Okay. So this is the trash line for the stone that's coming this way. Okay. Goes down here and gets tossed away because I need brick production. And then stone is being taken. Bricks are being taken to the walls, which aren't really being used to the concrete. How much walls are you trying to build? You're trying to build 500 walls? We only really need 200 of those. You're trying to request 5 at a time. You're set by that. Okay. You're fine. You don't need, you are not needed anymore. Go away. Okay. Okay, so what we need to do is create a bunch of, because we also need molten copper for this one. Yes. So I guess it's time to start putting that together as well, because we also need molten copper for, okay. Let's just do the science portion up here. Okay. There it is. So the molten iron, we need a note. I can't have this on my screen the entire time, so we need at least let's just call that 90 per second. Molten iron. And we need at least 460 molten copper. Okay. I'm still not making blue chips, and that's going to need more chips as well, so it's going to be even more iron and copper I'm going to need. This one is taken into account, I believe. Yep. This one should be taken. Well, this one's not taken into account, so that's at least. Because I didn't highlight that one. That's at least plus 40. So that'll be 130. You're already set up, so I don't have to worry about you. How much steel? Okay, hold on. Overall, the demand for steel is 14. The demand for general iron plates is 10. Assuming there's no weird shenanigans in here. Rod demand is roughly 8. We've got the engine stuff accounted for. Batteries are going to need more plates, probably. Gears might be accounted for. Okay. So this portion, I'm not going to leave this up forever, so this setup as is uses. Okay. Let's aim for. How much can a pump move? 1,200. You know what? Let's aim for 1,200. How bad could it be? Okay. So we'll probably. Hold on. Oh, and I also need to produce this as well. Requires molten iron. Okay. Okay. So how much molten iron does this require? This requires. I also have you using productivity as well right now. 2.4. Okay. We'll aim for 1,200 on both copper and iron production. Okay, so we are going to make this real quick. Now, we are assuming. Okay. This one and this one are going to come from up here. So we'll go with. Oh, not what I wanted to do. This one is not going to have, it's just going to be purple. Okay. So this one's easy enough. If I only load it on the one side, I can just have it crash into here, couldn't I? Yeah, on the far side here, and then... that might work. Okay. So let's... so we're going to grab requester chest. So we'd want at least... that. So we want at least that, so this one's easy enough. We can request the space science already, so we want one stack space science on this. Okay. We don't have the other one yet. This might be a situation where I want this just to help without. So we at least want to go to here. Now we just want the top row. Okay. And then what we're going to want here for this one is providers. Do I want... no, I want active providers. Not requester. Well, we are going to want 3 requesters. We're also going to want active providers. And we are going to want and then we want you to you are going to grab a spoilage. That is not in power. Okay. Right about there is a good point. Actually, we can just put it right there. We can add some lights to the end of these. Okay. And then we'll only want probably there, there, and there. And then pipes are going to be easy enough. And just in case. Actually, hold on a second. You need to be able to grab stuff. Hold on. How much do you need of both of those items? enough to where it can fit on a single belt. Okay. So you're just gonna go like this. Yeah. Yep, and each of those are going to be slow enough to where this one should hopefully be able to keep up. If not, we can adjust for that later. Okay. So that'll be that very straightforward. Now we need to go backwards here. Next we need to produce 1.92 of that and 2.88 of that. That's just... Okay. So we need you to make that 0.6, so we need at least 4. Okay. Now it's 1.2, 1.8. Okay. One 1.062. That's okay. Okay, okay. So that still produces more than we need. However, hold on. One entity is being damaged. That's potentially a concern. That is a concern. How is power going on this area? Okay. So, yeah, it's okay. Where is it? Control C. They don't ignore it, but they prioritize it. Okay. That might help. Okay. So, we need... Let's just write down this number real quick. We're going to need 0.92 tungsten plate. Okay. Actually, hold on, what am I thinking? I could just do this. So I have a surplus of 3.26. Okay. Which is probably fine, but what are you ultimately needed for? That is in a quantity where I'll want to make tungsten plate over there. Artillery wagon will probably most likely be useful on Novice if I want to use that. So I can just make a separate build later for that. Foundation is really late. That's really late. Don't have to worry about that. That artillery shells. Okay, so this is interesting. So the artillery shells both need calcite and tungsten plate, both on this planet. The capacity for the rocket is 10 stacks. These stack in stacks of 1. Capacity of the plates themselves are 250. So 5 stacks divided by 4 plates. Okay. So just roughly that's 60 shells. If I just send the... Okay. So that's something we'll... for mass production later. That's later on. Artillery turrets. Same issue with the capacity. Rail guns. Yeah, that's going to have the issue with the capacity as well. Or it's just better to send the raw material over to wherever I'm making the rail guns. And this is enough to where I'm going to want to make a build explicitly for that. Oh, and these can only be made here. So I'll need a good build for that. Okay. Yep, so we'll just want dedicated stuff for that later on. So we don't want to put this in... Yeah, we don't really need to put this in logistics. Personal weapon, probably not going to need it anywhere. Mostly a ship weapon. Might have some use on Novice or Gleba, I believe. Yeah, so I don't have to worry about that. So I don't need access from this. So I can grab and try and squeeze out some more productivity out of this. Ooh, almost there. I don't need a lot more in this case. Maybe I can get rid of... Maybe I can do that. Slight. That's so small. I think I'm not going to try and squeeze out more there. Change these. Oh, 0.99. Okay. The crafting speed, however, is now 3 compared to... 3. Oh, well, that's because you have more productivity in it. Yeah. 2/3 productivity. You also have 2/3 productivity. But now I have a room for this. Power reduction. Yep. Excellent. And you just need the tungsten ore and the molten pipes. For that, I think we're going to take you, put you right here. Yeah, right here is a good spot, I think, in my opinion. And then I think we'll do this. Okay. And then slow enough. Okay. Okay. Put a note here that this needs to be the tungsten ore. Okay. And then we'll put an output. Okay. Okay, so now we need to make this, which I believe is more tungsten ore, sulfuric acid, and carbon. This can be made in the assemblers. Okay. Tungsten carbide. So this will produce 0.75. We need at least, looks like 3 more machines. Okay. Is that right? Or at least 1 more machine. Okay. I can work on that. Also means we could probably throw in productivity. So let's try and throw in 1 productivity module in each of them and see what happens. We have a slight deficit now. We would need 1 more machine. Okay. Okay, let's try and... Not you. You come back out there. Slight surplus. Okay. That's good enough. And then we can just go save some power here. 4% productivity is better than none. Okay, and then so we have a slight surplus. Ultimately, these are going to have dedicated builds. Wow, that one will definitely need a dedicated build. Oh, this is on a completely different planet, so yep. Okay, so we don't have to worry about pulling that out as well. So we need to get sulfur. The ore is going to be easy enough. We need carbon. We make carbon. Not the right machine, is it? It's one of these machines, isn't it? Yep. And I'm not being brought more machines for that. I don't have any being made. I don't have any quality. Well, I have some. Okay. The mall from hell. Let's see. You are waiting on blue chips. You'll just have to wait. I thought I was making chemical plants somewhere. I am not making chemical plants anywhere. Excellent. Oh, not the button I wanted to press. It's the wrong thing. Okay, so... we're going to need chemical plants. All that should be in the system. Somewhere. Okay, so this is going to produce 1 a second. And you were made from coal and sulfuric acid. So plentiful, so plentiful. Is that enough? Not quite. Still need, okay. Since I'm gonna need at least 2. Let's do that. Okay. Almost there. I boost it by 60. No, not wrong. 30. Slight surplus. Excellent. Okay. And carbon. Nothing I need to worry about. Okay. So this will allow me to do something. Okay, so we can do this. 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 Okay. So you are going to spit out carbon. Actually, hold on a second. I could get a bit more cursed here. That's the best way to do this. I could. Okay. Because that's going to produce enough sulfuric acid for both of them. No, enough carbon for each of these. Okay. You can go right there. We can do this in case I need to expand this later. Okay. So you need coal, you need coal. What's the best way to do this? I could bring the ore. Coal, I think, will be easy enough. So I can jump here to... Oh, no. I can't jump that far. Okay. Coal cannot jump that far. Okay. However, I don't need a lot of coal, so I can just have coal come up this way and this way. Is that fast enough? 2. It's the same speed. That's... What was that speed? I think that's the same speed as the other one. Yeah, that should keep pace. Sulfuric acid is not a problem, just throw more into the pipe, hook up more pump jacks. Okay. Now, this. No, we'll want this. Hold on. We'll figure this out. Slow enough to not be an issue. All right. Oh, that actually, I'm forgetting something important here. And that's I need to output. Is that going to be fast enough? Yes. Okay. What's important is can I... Yes, that won't be an issue. Okay. In fact, let's include those as part of the blueprint. Just so I don't forget. Okay, so this will ultimately come down like that. And do whatever it needs to do over there. So because this right now only produces less than 3. So this could tile out quite a bit. So let's keep that in mind. So hold on, let's get some markers real quick so we know that this one, and this one. So this is going to end up being ore. And this one is going to end up being coal. And this is going to be the only liquid, sulfuric acid. We'll worry about that in a moment. That'll ultimately be the main line for that. So ultimately we need we pull one of these, don't we? Just very simple. Like that. Well, up here, right here, what I could do is Oh. That. Oh. You keep it simple and just do this. And then we can get rid of that and that. Because now if I were to copy this, with the spacer, it would fit. Excellent. Okay. Okay, so first of all, let's cut this and line this up with actually right about here or here. Yes, here. Okay. Because I also need it here. Okay. And then this can come down here, here, and then we'll figure out the molten copper later. Okay. So what we need to do is hook this up for power. I think the center points are good. Okay, so that's powered. Okay. This is going to be sulfuric acid, so okay, hold on. ferric acid is nice and easy. There we go. So ferric acid. Now we need... Okay. We need coal over here. Okay. I don't really need this wall here. So... coal. Okay, so let's just... Okay, so we need coal in this case. Okay. So we still need the iron and the copper. Okay. So kind of used up the upper space, but we could use the lower space here. Okay. So we're going to try and get one pump worth of both. So we want to make from lava, molten iron, and from copper, molten lava. Okay. So they produce at the same rates. That's good. We want to produce... We're aiming for 1,200, so... That's a nice number. That is not a nice number. And holy shit, does that produce a lot of stone. I will need 2 separate stone belts for that. I will need more lava pipes for that. Okay. Okay. I don't think I can get around the lava and the stone production, but I might be able to reduce this by using some speed. So, okay. That reduced it by 3 buildings at least. Put in... Okay. Now that's 60% faster. That makes it 8. That's nice, at least. And just because... Let's cut down on the power. So that's going to be 8 of each. Now that's going to produce... Oh my goodness. My current build speed would require 4, stone belts. Four red stone belts. Even if I started switching to blue right now, that would only get me down to 3 stone belts? Okay. Okay, that's gonna be an issue. That will definitely be an issue. Ooh. Okay, so right away, first issue. We need to set this back at least. So that way I can do this. So that way there's at least enough pipe throughput there, and am I pumping enough? Yes. This will pump enough, but I need to make sure that if there's any other pumps along the line that there are enough. Okay. Alright. So I am going to need... Oh my goodness. Alright. So ultimately we will need... Okay, I don't have a setup, but... Yeah, why am I drawing a blank on how it's made? One of these. And close that. Okay. Okay. We're gonna need at least one of these. Okay, and then we wanted... 8. So we need at least 8 of each machine. Okay. 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 All right. So as I was thinking here, so this is going to produce 120 stone. Each one appears to be producing 6 stone a second. Wait. Wait a minute. Math doesn't... 16 times 16 times 6. It's 96. So why is it saying 120 stone? 7.5 for 16 machines. It's not what this says. $150. That's right. That's okay. So one of these isn't right. One of these isn't right. Okay, but let's assume we can group them into 4, so per belt at least. So we can take that, drop it there, take that, drop it up there. Okay, so this 4 will go to that belt, this 4 to that belt, that belt, that belt for output, for the stone output. Is that equidistant? No. No, it's not. Okay. Since it's not equidistant, I would like to... There's more space over here. There's space over here. I could do this as well. Where's the nearest pool of lava? So the pools of lavas are here, here, here. I could send a bunch of excess stone down this way. There's one over here I could clear out. There's one way up here. Okay, let's notice that mistake. Okay, so first of all, let's take this, put it down, I don't know, here for right now. And then we'll take this, cut this, put it over here for now. Put this right here for now. Okay, so let's assume we get 4 lines at the very end here, because we can jump as we need to get all the way over here. Spots here, there's nice straight spots over here. Some straight spots. Okay, so we are looking at potentially going into this worm's territory. We'll clear him out later. But let's grab my first 4 and start playing with those. So we are going to... Let's go like this. Why does this... Okay, so that's why. Copper 15. Iron 10. Okay. So if this is 9, that's 18. Okay. So there's 18, so that means these four are producing 36. Okay. I have to do copper in groups of 3. Or split it in a way so that way... Okay. All of you iron boys, go over here for now. I need more space. I might just have to condense it over here instead and use both of these spaces. Okay, so first of all, let's give it a spacing of 3. I'm in the way. Okay. So that's actually quite awkward. Yeah, so that one produces 72. This one produces a single belt worth. And this one produces 7. That's not the same math. Okay, hold on a second. I have to remember this won't take ghosts into account. Efficiencies, okay. There we go, 48, 72, 120. So this is 2 and a fraction of a belt. And this is 1 and the other fraction of a belt. Okay. So we're going to want 3 belts coming out of this, 2 belts coming out of this. All crashing in together. I hate you. But I can balance this out among 3 belts. I hate this. I hate this. Do I really need... but the... Okay, so copper. Yeah, I'm going to want to make a lot more of those. These I might have to make more to meet demand. That's a lot of stuff I might have to make to meet demand. Okay, so if I figure this out, I'm gonna have to do this with the ones. Okay, so you, I'm gonna go from there, and we're gonna have you coalesce over here on the far side. Okay. thinking about potential arrangements for this. So I think the easiest option is to do something like this. This is the simple option. And just put bulk here, 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 and then have each of these split so that the inner ones will grab whatever space is available. And I can feed the copper back up into the copper line. Because the pipe work is going to be much more simpler than this. Okay. Then if we go over here, there's not really a good spot to do something like this, is there? Best bet would be to just do this. And turn the others in. Honestly, doing something weird like this might be okay. Because we're not requiring stone before this point yet. Nope, not yet. And since that won't last forever, this will be okay eventually. Okay. Okay. Oh, dang it. Who's grabbing whitelist? Whitelist. Whitelist. You. I'm concerned about potential nuclear fuel, but you produce 975 kilowatts, and we are having occasional spikes. I'm guessing this is lasers. Yep. How much do you spike up to? Maybe a few more solar panels. Where can I squeeze some in? Almost a megawatt worth. Do I have extra accumulators? I do. Oh no, not there. Oh, they have quite a long range compared to my turrets. Okay. Oh, I'm getting hungry. What time is it? Yeah, I'll figure this out another time. I'm gonna go make some food. Let's see. There we go, Space Age 1. Alright. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you in the next session. Bye-bye.